guys, and welcome to Griffo's Retro Gaming, where today I'm going to be doing a review of a new game, which is Pokemonshield. Now, there is another Pokemon game which goes alongside this, which is called Pokemonsword. And it's the new release by Nintendo and Game Freak in the Pokemon franchise, and it promises to deliver a lot more than what we're used to. And if you're familiar with the Pokemon series, you'll know that the Pokemon games in the mainland were for handheld devices only, really, for the Game Boy originally, going right through to the 3DS. And this is the first game for a proper console by Nintendo, if you like. There has been an awful lot of spin-offs of the Pokemon games. For the GameCube, for example, there was Pokemon XD, there was Pokemon Channel. For the N64, there was Pokemon Snap and Stadium, and so on. And the nearest we've got is Pokemon Let's Go, which was out for the Switch as well. But it was a watered-down version of what we want, really, as Pokemon fans. So it was a remake or a remake. Well, no, it was a remake, I guess, of the Pokemon Yellow game for the original Game Boy. And it allowed you to catch Pokemon, but that's all you did. You just caught the Pokemon. You didn't fight them, you didn't whittle them down, and you had some trainer battles as well. Like I say, it was quite watered down, but it was still a load of fun. When I heard about Pokemon Sword and Shield, I nearly wet myself. It promises to deliver an awful lot of what we expect as Pokemon fans for a Pokemon game, and that's essentially just an open world game. Now, I've only had my Switch for, a week now, and this was one of the first games I got with it, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. I've got some footage of my first playthrough, and I'm going to dissect the game, and we'll have a look at what it's like together in nice, easy, manageable chunks, and I won't give any spoilers away. So if you're familiar with the Pokemon games, right from the very first ones, which was Blue and Red on the original Game Boy, you'll be very familiar with this story, and it is exactly the same as all the rest. You're a 10-year-old boy, you want to be the best there ever was, the greatest Pokemon champion, whatever really. You go meet your local professor, and you go from there. Your mum sends you on your way to become the Pokemon champion despite you being 10. In all honesty, I think your mum just wants rid of you so she can get with the professor. Anyway, I chose a grass-type Pokemon. Not sure why. Never do, but hey, it's different, innit? So you start your journey. You start your adventure. You've got one Pokemon. You've got 20 Pokeballs. And you've got a load of abandonment issues to deal with. Yeah. But I have to say that with the visuals of the game, now, for me, it's graphically stunning. It's easily the best game I've seen in the Pokemon franchise. You would expect that with it being on the newest console, but I think it looks beautiful. I think the setting's really good. They've based it on the UK, so there's a heavy UK influence in all the villages and the surroundings and the shops and things like that. And you can definitely see it. It does look very British, and I'm so glad that they did that. And you can see just now, you could be in the Peak District or in the Pennines, whatever, in a Yorkshire village. That's what it looks like, and I have to say that I was blown away with it. I really was. I know that you'd probably want something a bit less cartoony, and overall it does look very much like a 3DS game, but I was wowed with it. So in that respect, I think they've done a very good job. The new features of the game were quite a surprise to me, and I've got to say, at first I was a bit unsure But as I've started playing, I've really grown to love them, and I'll explain why. So, if you're used to the older games, and especially Sun and Moon, they were dreadful for it. The amount of training and speech and it was awful, and it was so necessary. Well, this game, it it tries to save you time. The new features are there to help you move along with the game, and it is very much appreciated. Now, on the screen at the moment, you'll see a Pokebox, and if you're new to the game, you can only carry around 6 active Pokemon with you that you can use to battle with. And the Pokebox is where all the other ones that you catch go to. Now, in the older games, you had to go to a Poke Center to use the PC to be able to transfer your Pokemon. Well, this game allows you to transfer wherever and whenever you like, and that, I can see a few people who'd be like, oh, I don't like the idea of that. But again, it saves you time, and it's more handy for when you catch a new Pokemon that you want to use. You're not having to go and backtrack on yourself, which can be really annoying later on in the game. Yes, you've got Fly, and yes, you've got escape ropes in previous versions of Pokemon, but it's just handy to be able to do that there and then. And that leads us nicely to the next feature, which is a fast travel system. Now, in previous installments of Pokemon, you'll know that you'd need to get the move Fly, and then you'd have to have a certain badge to be able to use it outside of a fight. And the fast travel system in Pokemonshield is pretty much available from the beginning. And yeah, it's great for if you're wanting to fill your decks. You don't have to go all around the houses or anything like that. You can just go direct to where you want to be. Now, the next feature is one that I thought, this seems a bit crap, but it's actually really fun. So it's called a Poke Camp, and you just camp with your Pokemon, essentially, but you can play games with them, like I'm throwing a ball here for Hitmonlee. And you can also do some sort of weird, sort of bondagey sex game, it seems, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it builds up the morale and makes them friendly to you. You can also cook curries in your camp, and it's really fun as well. So you have one main ingredient, like an apple here, for example, and then the berries that you use in other Pokemon games for in battle, and it cures status effects or gives you health, anything like that. That's what you put alongside the main ingredient to make the curry. And yes, each berry has a certain type of taste, and you've just got to find what works best, really. And there's a curry dex as well, apparently. So there's so many different curries that you can create and unlock. And they all have different effects on the Pokemon. They all add experience, I believe. I don't know if there's any bad ones as yet, but yeah, they all add experience to your party, which is something that you really want, obviously, and it builds up friendship and morale again. So you throw all the ingredients into a pot, and you've got to use your motion controls, or you can press the A button here to fan the flames. I've sped it up. And stare. And then, strangely, you've got to put your heart into it. Yeah, bit childish. But there's my spicy apple curry, and yeah, spot on. Growleaf loves the spicy apple curry. And there you go. And as you can see, coming out of it, there's a level up for Hitmonlee. He's obviously had a good time, and they've all gained a bit of experience from it. Now, this is the main area of the game, and it's where you want to be. It blew my mind to begin with. I mean, look at that, Snorlax just walking around. But there is a catch to it as well, so it works on a levelled basis. Now, you need certain badges and to be of a certain level to be able to catch the stronger Pokemon, like the Rhyhorn there. but you are able to catch the weaker Pokemon, and they all go towards the Pokedex, don't they? I mean, look at this, a Gyarados again, and I can't catch it. So, yeah, the wild area is essentially the safari park, if you like. And also in the wild area, you can pick up objects, you just see a glint there. And, yeah, there's loads of different things you can pick up, either to sell or use. You can also pick up things called Watts, which you'll remember from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver using the Poké Walker. But you can exchange Watts with these people for certain things, whether they be Pokeballs or certain moves, anything like that really. Now these glowing red holes on the floor here are found in the wild area, and they are where you extract the Watts from. But also in there is a Pokemon that you can catch, and it's along the lines of the Pokemon Go raids. So it's a larger Pokemon that you can fight and eventually catch. You can invite your friends to battle with you, or you can have some computer generated people to help you. Now this is called Dynamaxing, and it's not something I'm overly excited or happy about, to be honest, but it helps you catch certain Pokemon, I guess, and I think that they've got better stats than normal Pokemon of their type. So this Grubbin here will have a better stat, or it'll have a certain move that you don't get with a normal Grubbin, what you'd find out in the wild, I guess. So you essentially just it's like a mega evolution in a way, and yeah, you Dynamax your Pokemon, and whatever move they've got. So for Growlithe I had 2 fire attacks, I think one was Flame Wheel and Ember. Well, they just simplify to like a fire attack, Max Flare, there you go, and it's the same move for both, and it's super effective because it's a bug type, obviously. And when you kill it, you have the option to catch, and yeah, that's it essentially. Or that's what I've found so far. It's not an awful feature, and I have been trying to catch the ones that I found or come across. Some of them are very hard, like the Snorlax. I just couldn't seem to damage it at all, and you only have 10 rounds to be able to defeat and catch the Pokemon, so yeah, it's quite tricky, but it's a lot of fun. Once you've either caught or defeated the Dynamax Pokemon, you get an awful lot of items, and in there there's usually a move, there's some things for you to sell at a high value, some berries, and some XP candies, which you can use to artificially grow your Pokemon, if you like. The game also features trainer battles, which you'd expect, but they're exactly the same as every other Pokemon game, and that's quite a disappointment in a way, because just looking at these graphics, it looks like you could be playing on a handheld device, and that's one of the things that's really disappointing about the game. There's nothing really to add about the Pokemon battles. Like I said, they're the same as every other Pokemon game you've ever played, with the exception of the XP, which is shared out between all your Pokemon. The Pokemon that's been fighting receives the most, and the rest of your team receives half the XP. Now, the game does feature quite a few new Pokemon, which I'll go through a few in a moment. But the main talking point is the Pokedex, or lack thereof. Now, in a lot of other Pokemon games, not all, but most of them, you have 2 Pokedexes. One being the regional Pokedex, which is for there and then, in that region, that little world, if you like, so Kanto, Johto, wherever the particular game you're playing is set. Then once you complete the game, you get the National Dex, which has all the Pokemon from previous games on there as well. So you could, in theory, depending on which game you're playing, end up amassing 800, 900 Pokemon, however many it is. I'm not quite sure. Well, this game doesn't feature the national dex, and it has upset quite a lot of people. There's a lot of omissions from the game, and when the tag of the game is got to catch them all, and you can't catch them all, then it defeats the object, and I'm totally with them on that. I hope it's something that they put out in updates or something like that, if that's even possible, but at the moment it's not great. On the flip side, however, there is up to 400 Pokemon to collect, and some of the new ones are really good, to be fair, because in past generations we've had some really stupid things like an anchor, but this game has tried to take the influence of its new Pokemon from British culture. And for example, there's a dog which is an electric dog, and it looks like a corgi. Now, obviously, the Queen has corgis, so that's where that ties in. Now, there's also regional variants. One of them here is Meowth, and this comes from the last game. It comes from Sun and Moon, and I'm not a big fan of it myself, but what it does is it makes a Pokemon slightly different and have a different type. And for example, with this Meowth, the normal Meowth is a normal type Pokemon, where the regional one happens to be Steel. So you need to use different tactics when it comes to fighting this Steel type Meowth. So a fire type Pokemon will just wipe the floor with it. I suppose it adds a different dynamic to the game, but yeah, it just makes things really stupid. So in Sun and Moon, the Executor had a ridiculously long neck. In this, I've seen that it's made Wheezing have a top hat which is really long, like a chimney, and the smoke coming out of it there. And yeah, I get the British like Industrial Revolution reference, but it's just daft. So I think the game is a really good game. In my opinion, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. It could be better. It's not exactly what I was hoping it would be, but they're not far off the mark with it. And I think if the game was wholly like the wild area, which is totally free roaming, rather than making you stick to a certain route, it does seem rather linear in the way that you have to go. If it was a bit more free roaming, then it would be a better game for sure. But then it wouldn't really tie into the Pokemon story that it tells, where you have to go through and defeat the gym leaders in a certain order to be able to get the badges which allow you to do more things. I think graphically it's a bit of a disappointment because it looks very much like a 3DS game. But when you have a look at the background and when you look at the design of the actual region, I really do think they've captured the British culture there. You could be in the Yorkshire Dales or anywhere like that in a little village. It does look very much like that. One thing I really do like is the time saving elements in a lot of the new features, and it's not to the detriment of the game at all. And I did go into playing the game with the mindset of I don't like this, and that's purely because it was just different. But as a 35-year-old with 2 kids, I just haven't got the time to be ploughing into a game such as Pokemon, which takes such a long time to complete if you're going for that Pokédex. And it's just nice to be able to see the Pokemon in the area, so you're not just playing a random game by just walking in a load of grass and encountering a load of Rattatas or Pidgeys or anything like that. You can actually see what there is and you can approach that Pokemon. The story is a major concern for me, or lack thereof. I'm not quite sure how they can change it, but the story they use at the minute is the one they use for every single game. You're 10 years old, you leave home to become the greatest, and you've got a rival. I don't know. I mean, why not try like a Noah's Ark type thing where you got to get a male and female of every single Pokemon? Or, you know, I don't know. But it would definitely be nice to have some different kind of story in there. But, hey, what you get with Pokemon is what you get in it. One of the best things for me, though, is the fact that I can play this type of Pokemon mainline game on the big screen. And yes, I know you could play on a Super Game Boy or the Game Boy Player for the GameCube, but this just feels more natural and organic, and it really adds to the game. The only thing that I haven't done so far is play online with it, and that's because I haven't activated my online account yet. But I will be doing in future, so I can't really expand on that, unfortunately. But if it's anything like the 3DS was for online, then it'll be absolutely fine. I can't see why it wouldn't be. So, you know, it'd be nice to be able to do them raids with friends and, you know, go against people. It'll always be fun. So, yeah, for the next generation of Pokemon games, it's a solid entry. Like I say, there's an awful lot for them to do and to expand upon, but it's not a bad game in any way, I don't think. It's just a fun addition to the main line of the Pokemon games. I understand people's frustrations and why they are a bit upset with how it is, but overall it's fun, and that's the main thing, and that's the whole point of Pokemon. It's got to be fun for you and your friends to play. And that's my review of Pokemonshield for the Nintendo Switch. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's answered a few of your questions and queries. And if not, then get in touch and I'll expand upon anything that I haven't touched upon within this video. But all in all, I want to thank you for watching. And remember to like, share and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, as is your support. Thanks again, and I'll see you with another review very soon.